Hi, welcome back to Meerkat OK. My name is Maddie Soul. This video is going to be a continuation of my last video, which is the Anonymity in music video, but instead we will be focusing on artists that make EDM music. The artists that I'm going to be focused on today will be Daft Punk, deadmau5, Marshmello, Holy Priest, and I Hate Models. So let's start with Daft Punk. Daft Punk is a fresh electronic duo made up of Thomas Bangalter, I don't know if I'm saying the names right, Guy Manuel de Homem Cristo, and this duo was really influential in the EDM scene because it mixed a lot of genres of music together, such as house music, synth, pop, techno, and funk. And before they were Daft Punk, they were part of another band called Darling, in the 90s, but it didn't receive a lot of good feedback. I think at this point they were a trio, but they ended up disbanding just because the music didn't work out. And then Thomas Bangalter and Guy Manuel came together to create Daft Punk. And their name, it's kind of funny, their name was kind of like a joke based on like a bad review that they got from their last band. Some reviewer had called their music as Daft Punky Thrash, and that's where they got their band name Daft Punk. But in the late 90s, more specifically 1997, was kind of like where the music really took off with hits such as Around. Daft Punk wasn't really anonymous when they were starting. I mean, when they started making music, they would play music without mask. But it was around the time where they had to do a lot of interviews, right? Because they were promoting their music and they hated doing interviews. So they started doing interviews wearing masks. During press interviews, they started wearing masks such as Halloween mask and clear plastic mask that would distort their face in order to kind of like take away from their identity and have their music speak for themselves. They hated doing interviews just because they didn't really want to be in the spotlight, but however, they wanted to create making music, and in order to create music, you kind of have to promote your music, and the label was pushing them for them to promote their music, especially like with their new album coming out. So what they wanted to do is kind of like, instead of wearing random masks, they wanted a mask to encapsulate their futuristic sound, and that's where they got the helmet idea that we know of today. So the mask that they ended up coming up with, they wanted it to have LED lights, but also like because they had to wear it while performing and doing interviews, they didn't want to overheat. So they had this Hollywood special effects designer, Tony Gardner, create their signature helmets. And they got inspiration for their helmets from the film The Day the Earth Stood Still. It was like really cool learning about how they came up with the helmets and like how the helmets came to be from this like video that just kind of talks about like the history of the Daft Punk helmets, if anybody wants to check it out, just because I really enjoyed watching that video while searching like why they ended up with this helmet. After the release of the first album, Homework, and the second album, that's when they introduced the helmets, because they were like, okay, like we don't want to show our faces anymore for these interviews. Let's bring out the helmets for the press tour for our second album. In the second album, that's where we have the bangers of like One More Time, Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger, and the masks were mainly used in order to like take away from their identity and have the music speak them for themselves, because they were not really interested in fame. They were more interested in like just making music, but like at the end of the day, in order for them to keep making music at that time, you need to promote your stuff and kind of show your face during interviews. But the mask or the helmet allowed them to kind of circumvent that. The other artist that I want to talk about is deadmau5, or okay, I didn't know how to say his name. It's pretty sure it's deadmau5, but like I think before making this video, I kept calling him Dead Mouse 5. But Dead Mouse, or more specifically, Joel Thomas Zimmerman, is a Canadian producer who makes progressive house music, and also well known for bangers such as but also known for the iconic helmet that he wears. It's a light up mouse helmet that he used to wear on stage. The name Dead Mouse came because he used to take apart a lot of just like old tech or just like electronic stuff, and one day in taking apart his computer, he saw a dead mouse, and everybody just kind of knew him as a dead mouse guy. So he ended up making like his username online like Dead Mouse, but with a 5, just because like he needed to shorten it for the characters. And it ended up being his chat room name, and he just kind of like was like, oh, let's just make it my DJ name. The idea of the iconic helmet came in as a like inside joke between him and a friend, but it ended up working out in his favor as a branding element, just because like if you think about it, just the DJ scene is kind of like oversaturated with a lot of white men, and it's kind of hard to stand out if you're like, I guess, a white guy just making music. So it worked in Dead Mouse's favor because now you had this DJ who was anonymous and performing in a mouse helmet, light up mouse helmet, which like brought in an element of like, wow, this guy's different. So Dead Mouse is like a case where like people know who the artist is just because he used to perform without a mask, but like it was his helmet and like the visuals that helped with his branding, but also like make him memorable, and it just stuck to people. It's also funny because like in an interview he kind of joked that he was like, oh, I'm surprised that Disney hasn't sued me because like the helmet looks like Mickey Mouse. And in 2014, that's when Disney actually sued Dead Mouse for the helmet and the logo being too similar to the Mickey Mouse logo, and they ended up settling out of court. But it was just kind of funny because like it seems like a lot of things just came out in his career, just kind of came through as little jokes. Also, currently like Dead Mouse or Zimmerman doesn't perform with the helmet because like the helmet is so heavy that it actually caused damage to his back. He posted on social media that the helmet messed up his back over time, just because like you're performing for hours and carrying this like heavy stuff. He now performs without it, and also he even makes techno music under the alias of Test Pilot. So he's still making music, it's just he's kind of ditched the helmet now. Anyways, this was interesting to learn because like I used to listen to his music while I was in high school, and yeah, I'm also really excited to see him live since I will be seeing him live in July. Woo! Another artist that also wears a helmet is Marshmello. And Marshmello for a long time was anonymous. It wasn't until... We'll get to that. Marshmello, or Chris Comstock, is an American DJ from Philly. His career started because he used to make trap remixes on SoundCloud under the name of .com. And when he was performing as .com, he wasn't wearing any helmet. .com came from like a childhood nickname. A lot of people would call him like .comstock just because his name is Comstock. As DJ.com, he did pretty well. Like, he would perform. It's just that, again, kind of hard to, like, stand out in an oversaturated market. He didn't have a big fan base, but he was very supported. Like, he was pretty talented because, like, he got the attention of Skrillex. He was hitting a wall where, like, he just wasn't really connecting with fans. So in 2015, he decided to just put a mask on, like put a marshmallow mask on and go by the name of Marshmallow. And that's kind of like when he started blowing up, because like it seemed to garner attention because it was like, who is this guy? The little bit of anonymity kind of like made his music more memorable and stick to audiences more. So it's definitely like, for him, anonymity was more, it was more like of a marketing issue. His whole persona of Marshmallow helped with marketing. But for a really long time, he was anonymous, which helped like differentiate between his personal life and his professional DJ life. And it wasn't until like Forbes kind of did this like whole expose thing where they went through records of like the record label that he was part of and just saw like who was being paid out royalties for his songs. And that's kind of like when they were like, oh, Chris Comstock keeps coming up as like as a writer and also like as part of like royalties, so it must be Marshmallow. So nobody really confirmed, but it's kind of like an open secret. And I think there's also like an old interview where like Skrillex is talking like, oh, like Chris Marshmallow is calling me. He keeps calling Marshmallow Chris, which is also like another thing where like fans were like, oh, like Marshmallow is Chris Comstock. Another artist that we have is Holy Priest. Holy Priest is, for me, he's a new artist because I had never heard of him up until recently. I've been seeing a lot of like clips of his like concerts, and I didn't realize that I liked this type of music, but he makes, because he's a German DJ that makes hard dance, hardstyle music. And I didn't know what hardstyle was until like I kind of started doing more research for this. I think this is gonna be my new favorite genre just because it's very fast paced, but also like it kind of sounds like you're knocking on wood. Yeah, honestly, I couldn't find any information about him specifically, like who this person is. There's a lot of like posts that he's made on social media which is just like Holy Priest exposed or like Holy Priest face reveal, but like obviously it doesn't show his face. He's just kind of doing it for like to garner attention. It's kind of refreshing to see like an artist be private in a world where like nothing is private. Because we don't know much about who Holy Priest is, we don't really know the reason why he's anonymous, whether it's for privacy reasons or just like a marketing tactic. A lot of people have the tendency to think that like anonymous DJs are industry plants, just because like while researching Holy Priest, like I saw a lot of posts that he made where he was basically defending himself to the haters. Like I guess a lot of people were like, oh, like you're an industry plant, and like he made a post where he was like, I've actually been making music for like 15 years. It's just not always been Holy Priest. So like this is definitely a person that like has been making music for a long time without a mask, and maybe it is a marketing strategy to like have a mask, because like it seems like there's been a lot of artists that like they'll make music but like never really connect with fans until like they become anonymous, and then like something clicks where like fans are like, who is this person? I really like him, and it just makes them memorable. It was interesting in reading his posts. It's also interesting because like there's always like the thing where like when people blow up, like they're like, oh, they just blew up overnight, and it's just like nothing really happens overnight. Like a lot of people that have quote unquote blown up overnight, like you sometimes don't see like the hard work that they've put in order for them to like seize that moment and blow up overnight. As of making this video, he's still anonymous. The only thing that you can see are like his huge ass arms. He's really buff. Sometimes during performances, like he'll kind of like put his mask halfway, kind of like Spider-Man form, but like yeah, you still, nobody knows who Holy Priest is. Like, oh, another French artist. I don't know how to say his name. Oh my god. Okay, Guillaume Labadie. The last artist that I will talk about is I Hate Models. For this artist that we do know his identity, just because he doesn't exactly cover his full face. He only covers like half of his face, and because he performs with a bandana or a mask, we love an anti-COVID king, he rarely does interviews. The name I Hate Models is not referring to the models that like walk a runway. He's actually referring to like genres. I guess in the French language, I guess it would say models. I don't know. But he's kind of like, I hate genres, because he likes to mix a lot of genres together in his music. And I came across this DJ on social media because there was like a clip of him DJing, and I think it was like him, and then he turns to like the crowd behind him, and it's like Sarah Landry and him are just kind of like dancing together, and I was like, that's so cute when like other artists are supporting other artists. He primarily makes EBM music, so not EDM. And at first I thought it was a typo, but like, okay, EDM is electronic dance music, which is like danceable poppy music. It's also kind of like an umbrella term for just like electronic music in general. But EBM is a little bit more specific. EBM refers to electronic body music. EBM has like more of an underground industrial sound, kind of like electropunk sound. To me, it sounds like you're clanking metal to the beat. I think I explained EBM music wrong. The type of EBM music that I'm talking about, I think, is primarily techno-infused EBM music. I started listening to, like, EBM music from, like, Front 242, and I was like, this does not sound like what I thought EBM music was. But that's because initially when I first thought I was listening to EBM music, I was actually listening to techno-infused EBM music. Which makes sense because I Hate Models likes to mix genres a lot. And it primarily originated in Europe in the 90s. Whereas EDM is a catch-all term for like electronic club music, but also like its origins came from Chicago house and Detroit techno. Something that I didn't know and I would also like to make a video about, because like, one, I feel like all music just came from Black people. So like, I do want to at some point go back to like the history of like EDM music and just how it originated. I was editing the video, and that's when I realized, because, okay, throughout the video I make jokes about like, oh, white men oversaturated the DJ space. And it had me thinking like, dang, like, there's all the artists, all the masked singers that I'm talking about that are wearing masks are men. So I was wondering like, oh, I wonder if there's any women that are masked DJs or DJs that like are anonymous. And that's when I realized, I was like, oh yeah, duh, Horse Girl. How could I not talk about Horse Girl? So here's what I found out about Horse Girl. Horse Girl, or her name is, I don't know their pronouns, but Stella Stallion is a German DJ that grew up in Sunshine Farms. That's just what she says in interviews. And I love how committed to the bit Horse Girl is, just because like, she's like, yeah, horse have human. And she's known for her horse mask that she wears during DJ sets. And what I love about Horse Girl is that they do not break character like while they're being interviewed. She claims to be half horse, half human, and her genre of music is happy core. I watched an interview where she kind of explained like her journey as to why she started DJing, which was interesting. She was like, yeah, I started DJing because people would ask me to get on the aux cord, and naturally I started playing at parties, and then I just got paid to DJ. And it was interesting because during her interview she kind of mentions that like her passion is kind of like to remind people in the EDM scene to like not be so serious. And like, it's interesting how lighthearted she is, just because like I feel like she got famous because like, one, her music is
very funny, which, like, I listened to one of the songs and I was like, this is a banger, but this is also really funny. Glad that I didn't miss Horse Girl, like, because honestly, like, to me, from all the artists that, like, I researched, like, she kind of takes the cake, just because, like, most of the artists that are masked, to me, they kind of came off as, like, a lot of them, it was, like, for privacy or for commercialization of their music. And for her, it kind of seems like it's a whole persona. Like, I love that there's, like, the lore where she comes from, like, Sunshine Farms. And, like, so it's, like, kind of, like, the trifecta of, like, one, privacy, two, yeah, commercialization, and, but also, most importantly, is, like, the lore. Like, kind of, like, the character. Stella Stallion, just chef's kiss.
That is all. I hope you enjoyed learning about, like, all these EDM artists that are quote unquote anonymous, with the exception of one. I hope that you listen to really great music, quality music, and have fun and go to live music events just because it's summer. And thanks a lot for watching this video. Bye.